Welcome to the Anonymous Andrew podcast. Life and the choices we make, the choices other people make. This is a podcast that explores all things as they relate to dating, romance, and relationships. Why we sometimes ignore or miss the red flags. Red flags like gaslighting, cheating, lying, psychological manipulation, mental illness, addiction, and so much more. Join me each week as we continue my journey into the modern dating world with my weekend rants, anonymous guest dating stories, and experts who share their wisdom so I can help you navigate the dating terrain. If you are new to the show or have been following me from the beginning, hold on tight for the Anonymous Andrew experience. Now on to the show. Greetings, Anonymous Andrew with you, and thank you for joining me. And really, thank you for, this is season 2, and this is episode 2. And you guys who have been following me from the beginning, if you're listening to season 2, I really appreciate your support and continuing to follow me and listen. And because I have seen the numbers and they have gone up and up and up. So we're starting to gain some traction here. So today I have a special treat. I was able to get a gentleman to come on the show. His name is John Pethke, and he is the CEO and founder of a dating app called CoyAmore. And because we're doing season 2 is all about dating, what's at the center of dating in the modern world, at least in the electronics or technology field, would be the dating apps. So what better to have a guy that created a dating app, and this one is a little different. This one has, well, you know what? I'll let him do the explaining, but this is a good dating app, and I've already signed up for it, and I'm on it, and I'm enjoying it. So onto the show. We'll talk to you on the other side. Enjoy. Ciao. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Anonymous Andrew podcast, and welcome back to season 2. I have a special guest, and I know I always say that, but today I have found the pot of gold I call at the end of my rainbow. Today with me is John Pethke, and John Pethke is the founder of a dating app called CoyAmore. And good evening, John, and welcome.
Thank you for having me, Andrew. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, my pleasure. So season 2 is all about dating, and I'm what better way to get into this season than to start diving into some of the dating apps out there. John, your app, you developed it for, so the audience knows, for people that are introverted. Let's maybe tell us a little bit about what that means, how you came to develop, or you founded this, and I don't know what part of development you partaked in it, but tell us your story.
Sure. Yeah. So in February of 2022, I was sitting in my office with some friends, and we were talking about dating and dating apps and all that. And I had just said, I wish there was a dating app for people like me who are introverted. And one of them just made the comment, why don't you make it? And I have no business skills, or I didn't at the time, about that. And so I did some research, and I found that there wasn't an app that directly catered to introverts. So I thought, why not take a shot at it? So fast forward to March, the LLC was formed, and then I kind of hit the ground running on looking at developers, and there are so many developer options out there.
Yeah,
It's overwhelming. That was one
it
of the
is.
most initially difficult parts to figure out. But I found a local company out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and the owner called me, and I got a good feeling off of him. So we went for it, and we partnered. So they developed the app and the website, and the part that I kind of took from that was just that I kind of gave them like the framework for it, exactly what I wanted it to be, what I wanted it to look like. Um, and fast forward to May of this year, we released the app, and now we're just kind of trying to let everybody know about it, market it as much as we can, look for investor opportunities.
Okay, so you said when the developers asked you what, or you were discussing how you wanted the app to look, or be, I guess the algorithm behind the app. It's a two-part question here. So you use the word introvert. So tell us a little bit about what that really means. I mean, listen, in my podcast, I've been researching words like gaslighting, narcissism, red flags, all that stuff, and this one, well, I know what the word means. Can you explain to us a little bit about what that is and who? Let's start there.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll start with extroverts. Extroverts tend to, be more outward in how they express themselves and how they use their energy. They just tend to use it more outwardly, whereas an introvert, they kind of reserve their energy and use it in the way that they want to. And it's a lot of the times in um, smaller amounts socially. They're very more internal humans. They observe more than they state, and the people they're comfortable with, they'll maybe talk more with. But they a lot of times they'll prefer internal settings or smaller social groups, or in general just less social situations, and that's how they prefer to live their life. And I guess that's how I would describe an introvert.
But they still want a partner in their life.
Absolutely. And because of their how they interact and choose to conserve their energy, it can be more difficult for them to find a partner. So I think this app um, will help them in the sense of multiple different ways, but mostly in helping them find a partner or at least somebody to connect with.
Okay. So then let's go to part two of that question, or question number two is, you said to the software developers wanted to know how, so what makes this app different, or how does it work differently than the mainstream apps?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of ways, and there are plenty of ways that it is similar, and there are plenty of ways that I want it to change or at least add to. So initially, when I was thinking about the development, I wanted it to be, similar to all dating apps. I think a lot of people have used dating apps and they're familiar with how they operate. So I wanted it to be similar so people who have used them can transfer into our app and be, like, oh, this is, this operates similarly, so
Similar.
I can understand that. And a lot of dating apps use the same features. So, and I would say even like it's almost a staple to use certain features when you create a dating app now. And I think for good reason, because they're, just they make sense. Some features just make sense to use in a dating app with how they operate. So we, incorporated those. Past that, going into like what makes it different. Um, with the design, I was thinking, the color blue, for example, that I want to be a big part of our branding. I don't think any dating apps I've seen have used that color, and blue is just like a very comfortable feeling for a lot of people. Even if you Google it, it'll come up with blue being like one of the more comfortable feelings just to like look at for people. Um, and uh, Another thing is that no dating apps have, coined the term "we are the dating app for introverts," and I want that to be us because I want our platform to be specifically helping introverts. A lot of dating apps will say, we have this feature and it's good for introverts, but that doesn't take away the fact that their app is already flooded with extroverts on there, which is going to scare away a lot of introverts unless they're looking for an extroverted companion. But that's not everyone. And I want our app to, cater to them. Mind you, we want extroverts to be on there if they think their partner is an introvert. So we don't want to disclude that because opposites attract, and that works a lot of times. Um, Past that, our match algorithm is based off of the five universal love languages. It's been pretty noticeable that people value those love languages, and I haven't seen a lot of apps use the love languages heavily in any capacity. So I think it's beneficial for us that we're using it in that way. Um, Introverted features right now, we only have like one specific one because we wanted to get the app going and use the staples, but also incorporate some introverted features. So we put one good one in initially, and that's the blind date feature. So the blind date feature, when you match with someone on a dating app and you start chatting, one of the difficult parts for people can be asking somebody out for the fear of rejection. So what we did is we incorporated a toggle option. When you're messaging with somebody, you can toggle something on that lets the app know you're ready to go on a date with that person, but it won't let the other person know until they also toggle it on. And then the app will let them both know they want to go on a date with each
Wow.
other.
Wow. I
Uh,
like that.
thank you.
Yeah. What a great idea.
The only other thing I'd say that we have that's a little bit different is that how you match with somebody is a little bit, you could say improved, and I'm sure some people will say not improved, but it's improved in one light. So a lot of dating apps, it's like you either tap an X to, not dislike somebody, or you swipe. And, a lot of times that leads to like accidental liking or disliking of somebody. So we added a little bit more to our liking of somebody. So in order to like somebody, we call this feature connect to connect, and you have to um, tap, drag, and drop. So it's you. Our logo is a thought bubble with a heart in it. So what you have to do is you tap the heart and drag it over to the thought bubble and leave it there. That way you like somebody, and that takes away from um
The accidental.
accidentally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I've done that. I've accidentally swiped left on somebody that I like because some of the apps they're too sensitive. If you touch the if it's on the cell phone and you're like scrolling down to look at the profile, and if your finger just happens to go that way, it just all of a sudden it goes left, and you go no, I wanted that person, and then they're
Yeah,
gone. They're
right.
gone. And then the reverse has happened. I've swiped on people to the right. And I'm like, oh no, I didn't want that. I like that. So you have to intentionally do like
Yeah.
a motion to make them to connect with them, to
It
swipe on
forces
them.
a yeah, it forces a little more attention span and engagement for a person.
Okay. Wow. All right. Next question. When the person is filling out their profile, actually, I have a few questions because I'm just curious how similar they are.
Yeah.
So, do you require a certain number of pictures? Some apps you don't have to post a picture. Other apps you have to put a minimum number of pictures.
Yeah, I can walk you through the onboarding process. So when you log in, the way you kind of authenticate is that you use your phone number, and that will send a code to you, and then you enter that code in. And you past that later, you can add your email if you want to, but that's the initial way to log in. And then I don't really, I can't remember the exact order, but I'm going to give you a basic layout of it. You eventually you'll uh, let your location services, that way we added a page that, kind of says the importance of having location services. If you don't enable them, then, it's going to be tough to find somebody to meet with. Past that, then we have you order your love languages in whatever order, best fits you. Eventually we intend to add, like quiz, like if you're not sure what your love language is or whether or not you're an introvert or an extrovert, we intend on adding quizzes into there so that way you can do that, incorporate that into the app. Um, and then you'll add your photos. You only have to add two. You can do up to six though. There's no payment scale as far as that goes. It's just you can have to add two and you can add up to six. And then it's kind of off to the races with creating the rest of your profile. We have kind of like canned questions. So like if you aren't great at communicating who you are, we have some questions out there with already pre-written answers that you can add about yourself that kind of show who you are in some light. There's also a blank bio that you can write about yourself if you are comfortable with talking more about yourself. So that's kind of how the profile setup goes.
Okay. I think you already answered a question that I had. Um, does during the setup process or creating your profile, do you identify as an introvert or extrovert? But I think you answered that already.
Right now you don't. That's something we plan on adding though. It initially we just didn't add it, and it's just like a lack of insight on our part, but it's, that's kind of part of the process of making an app. You kind of learn as you go. So it is something we are going to add though, like so that way people can identify and people will know who identifies as what.
And does so I'm an introvert, let's say, which right now I feel like I am. And let's say I would like to meet another introvert. Does the other person's profile say, is there any kind of a symbol or something that says this person identifies as an introvert or an extrovert?
Right now, there is not, but that is an addition we plan on adding. And part of it is, we don't want our app to be flooded with extroverts. We want extroverts to be on there if they think their partner is an introvert. But what the plan is once we add that in the onboarding process, people who identify as an extrovert could not pair with somebody who also identifies as an extrovert because there are plenty of apps for that.
Yeah, it defeats the purpose. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Um yeah, I would agree. I would think that if you're an introvert and you're looking to meet an extrovert, that's what you're looking for. I'm thinking about the developer side that somehow a symbol that identifies like I'm an introvert, I identify as an introvert. And this way when I'm so I guess this leads to the next question. Is there a pool? So I log on and is there an algorithm that matches me with people, or is it just gives me a bunch of people and I start swiping?
Yeah, in an ideal world, if you took the user base of Tinder, let's say, for example, which is probably the most common dating app. So if you took that user base, it would pair you with somebody, it would base it off of like two things. One, distance, and two, the algorithm that we use for love languages. We want to pair people together with their preferred love languages, and that may go into more detail eventually. But right now, it's we don't have a strong user base. We're just starting out. We're only 3 or 4 months into this since we released. So We're just trying to get the word out. But when we get to that point, that's how it's going to work.
All right. Well, I will tell you this much. When I promote this episode, I will promote this episode because I really think this is a great idea. Um, uh, Distance. So I'm the type of person that wants to date locally.
Yeah,
So Bumble and a couple of other the apps will allow you to really narrow down your search. So you could say, hey, I only want people 5 mile radius or 10 mile radius or 30 mile radius. And then there's another app that I'm on that I don't understand why, but their minimum radius is 50 miles. So I'm
yeah,
getting people 2 states away. And it's to me, it's a waste of time because I'm getting people from Connecticut, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and
yeah.
I'm not driving 2 states to go meet somebody. So
Understand.
do you have that radius?
Right now, we have a distance limiter that I'm actually having us remove. One problem that I think we're running into is that, as I market this, it gets marketed to people all over the place, and people will log on and see that nobody is on the app because nobody's near them.
Right.
So we're removing the limiter right now. That I don't know how long that'll take, but we want to remove it so that way when people log on, they at least see people that are on the app, and that
Okay.
may be those people may be states away, but I still think it's important to see. At least for now, it may take a year or 2 years where we just leave that off. But in order to get the user base we want, that's kind of how these things work, from my understanding. Is uh, the app won't be successful without a large user base.
Of
So it's
course.
kind of a strategic point
Yeah.
in that we want people to see that there's anybody on the app. So that way, because unfortunately, a lot of times people will download the app, see no one's on there, and then uninstall it. And the reality of it is, if they were to leave the app installed, if they wait long enough, there will be people on it. It just takes a lot of time, and that's just kind of how this works.
Yeah. I'm on a dating app that does not have, or yes, it does have a free version. It's for sober people. And I, I don't want to say anything bad about it. I think it's a great idea, but they have a very limited database,
Yeah,
and they don't. You can't see your profile or the other person's profile, or even message them. Um, and 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 they are far away. So I like that idea. You want to grow your database first. So
yeah.
do you have any idea how? Well, I guess you probably do have the data, but how many do you think you have on there by now?
I would say maybe around 300 users right now.
Okay. Well, hey,
Yeah.
listen, you're only literally 4 months old, so
Yeah,
I,
yeah. And
I
I'm bootstrapping this. I pay for all of it myself, so it's without an investor, I can only do as much as I
yeah.
can physically work.
Believe me,
So,
I get it. I'm doing the same thing with my own podcast, and it's
yeah,
yeah, the money's coming from the 9 to 5 job that I have.
yeah.
It's tough when you don't have investors. Um. Okay, so I download the app, which I think I'm going to. One to check it out because I'm doing a dating series on apps. I should have it. What part of it, and I'm only doing this for promotion. What part of it is free, and what part do you have to pay for?
Right now, it'll be easier to focus on what you have to pay for. So if you subscribe, you would get like advanced filters. That's one thing. There's already like normal filters, and there's a lot of variety in that. There's um, so normally there would be a boost option, and currently there is, like, to boost the mileage. But like I said, we're removing that for now.
Okay.
So once we remove that, that'll be gone. But the blind date feature is for subscribers. We have what most people would understand as like rewind, or like if you accidentally swipe on someone,
Right.
we call it retract. And then, gosh, I'm trying to think.
Can I message somebody? If so, I'm on there and I see somebody and I swipe right or like them,
Yeah,
or I have to use that bubble thing.
yeah.
Do I get to send them a message or they have to match me back?
They have to match you back. Yeah. So there's no immediate messaging. There's only immediate messaging for matches. And when somebody likes you under the free version, you won't know if they liked you. Their profile will show up, but it'll be blurred out. We have a buy option that you can buy it one time where it's called reveal. You can reveal their profile. Or
I like that.
if you subscribe, their profile will just show up for you.
I like that because the other apps don't have that. So in other words, if I see a picture I like, so I do see the picture, but I
Yeah.
can't message them. But if I want to pay a one-time fee, I can message them.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. Okay, that's a great idea because in some of the other apps, I get, let's say, there's a couple of apps that I joined that I subscribed to that expired and I did not renew, but I'm still getting emails weekly telling me that I have 15 women in my inbox,
Yeah.
and I go to look, but I'm not going to rejoin. But if I had the option to pay, I don't know what the price would be, $5.99 or whatever, to
Yeah.
see that profile and connect with that person, I might do that instead of paying anywhere from $39, $40 a month to some of these apps are $360 for like 6 months,
Yeah. It can get up there.
It gets up there. And I don't know about everybody else, but a lot of times some people maybe just have one app. I have currently 3 apps that I'm paying for and about 7 apps that I have already downloaded and used, and I either didn't like or it didn't go anywhere. So
Yeah.
I think you have some interesting approaches there.
Nice.
We just got to get the
Yeah.
database up. So,
Yeah.
but seriously, I mean, you launched in March, and the fact that you're already on, so you're in the Google store and you're on Apple.
Yep.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's key to be on those
Yeah.
2 stores. So that's great. Um, John, I think this is a great idea. Um, any other concepts about dating that you want to share with us? Um, I've been on these apps, and I also have I have a woman coming on this weekend who's going to share a horrible story that she had on a dating app. Um, and I'm guessing that you've been on a few dating apps. Any advice, hacks, tricks, tips on how to navigate a dating app? What's the
I
most important thing that you should do to your profile?
Yeah, I would say, and I'm saying this as I would imagine most people would want to have as an answer. Because it's one thing to get matches, but it's another thing to get matches with the wrong person. So because of how you display yourself. And, you know, I would say if you're going to build a profile on a dating app, be yourself. It's easy to get defeated. There's a lot of people that just are looking for attention on there. So be yourself. And if it didn't work out with the person you were attracted to on there, that's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
because you don't want the right kind or the wrong kind of person in your life. So it's better to have patience, which is easier said than done. I'm speaking from experience
Yep.
because I'm a single introvert myself who
Yep.
also uses dating apps. So it just takes patience, and just be yourself on the dating app. And it may not happen on a dating app for you. It may happen in real life, but at least if it does, you were yourself the entire time, and you can be proud of yourself for that.
I had a conversation with several people on the podcast and off the podcast. There's some debate on the pictures that we post. I've been told that you should go out and have a professional photographer take professional pictures of you because they are the first thing that the other person sees. And I personally think that's a little overboard. They're going to be
Yeah,
too. I think you should be yourself. And on my
yeah,
apps, I have pictures of me on my bike. I have pictures of me playing tennis. Some of the other activities that I enjoy, and it's just a debate that I hear amongst the dating world about the pictures that should be on the apps.
yeah. I think it's all opinionated. I don't know that there's one foolproof way. I think it would be fine if you have a professional image of yourself to put one on there, but don't make your whole profile, you're just a businessman or anything like that. Because I think plenty of women like a guy in a suit, but they also want to know he's not all, straight faced business or whatever. So
Yeah.
it's good to
Okay.
have a mix of things on there.
Okay. I am really excited for you, John. I literally having been, I I think my first dating app was eHarmony almost 15, 20 years ago, and then Match. And I've been on these for a long time. It is really good to see a new app even though it's dedicated to a specific population. I like some of the features that you've introduced. I think I wish you the best on this. I truly do. We the conversations that I've been having with people is that the dating apps today, and I don't think it's the apps themselves is the fault. It's the people on the apps, but
Definitely.
they're horrible. Well,
Yeah,
I should say the experience is horrible,
not great.
and and I think this might, at least as a new sheriff in town. Let's just put it
Yeah.
that way, you know. And,
There's a lot out there, but it's a competitive market, and it's pretty full. Like there isn't a lot people could probably make dating apps out of that haven't already been made at this point. But I think this is a underrepresented community, and it's frankly just unfortunate and surprising that nobody has done this yet.
yeah, if you think about it, because I'm already going through my head about other types of population that are out there, that could be tapped into. I'm hoping that this app takes off, just like I think eHarmony and some of the other ones. They started, if you remember, eHarmony started as a Christian-based dating app, and they got a lot of flack for that because they banned, I think, gays and lesbians,
Sure.
and they got a lot of flack for that. So they ultimately relented, and they opened up some dating apps for them. I think there's a bunch of, I shouldn't say a bunch. There's many populations out there, trauma victims that might not be very wary of the dating world. Maybe people who are suffering from depression but want to date. I could just think of a whole bunch of different types of populations out there that
Yeah.
you're not going to find any dating apps for. So I like this. I like this a lot. So, okay. And one last question. And I ask this of all my guests because my podcast is called Anonymous Andrew, The Life and the Choices We Make. What is one choice that you have made that you were happy you made, or what is one choice that you have made that you wish you didn't make? I know, and I should have warned you about this question ahead of time.
That's no problem at all. I'm gonna stick to the happiness because I want to focus on positivity.
Good.
One choice that I was happy I made.
And it could be
Um,
the dating world, it could be
sure.
business world.
Yeah. I it's simple, but um, I am happy. I last year when I started this business, uh, I didn't really know what I was doing. I've never owned or ran a business really. And my mom sent me a article for this class, and it was a class for veterans. I'm a U.S. Air Force veteran, and uh, it was it was through a local community college, and it was for free. They were helping veterans learn how to start a business, and I'm really the thing, the choice of it is that I'm happy about is that I decided to take it even though I was dealing with a bunch of stuff at the time, work, school, um, and then just adding a random class on top of the business was, it sounded stressful to me at the time, but I was like, okay, I'll do it. And the class was amazing. Like is the EC class for Fox Valley Technical College in Appleton, Wisconsin, and the director of the program was great. I learned so much, and I've met so many people, and my business wouldn't be the same without it. Fast forward to this July, I I I accepted a position with the school to now teach the class that I went through for veterans. So
Very
I
cool.
get to now teach veterans this class. So I'm very thankful for that opportunity. It's very self-rewarding to be able to teach people what the ins and outs of starting a business is like.
And thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, everybody. John Pethke, and his dating app is called CoyAmore, and it is for people who identify as introvert or introverted. And I really like this idea. John, would you come back maybe in 6 months and tell us how you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I would love to have you back on and see how your progress is going. I am personally going to download this app, if nothing more, to research and keep tabs. And I wish you the best of luck. It sounds like a great idea, and I hope you really succeed at this.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure. CoyAmore. It just has a wonderful sound to it. CoyAmore. Want to thank John and sincerely, John. I hope that this app does very well. We have so many choices out there with these dating apps today. It's confusing. It's confusing. And yes, I know this one is targeted to a specific population, introverted people. But like John said, there's extroverts and introverts can mix. And anyway, I'm. By the way, after I recorded with John, of course, this is what you're hearing now is a post edit. I downloaded the app. I do have the app on my phone. I'm in the process of signing up for it. So, all right, folks, here it comes. Please, I need your support. I need you to spread the word. All right. And of course, I would love to hear from you. All the information, how to contact me, is down in the show notes. If you have a dating story, if you want to share something with me, you have a question, please contact me or DM me on Instagram. And a 5-star review would be nice as well. If you're going to make a choice, if you need to make a choice, if you have to make a choice, I urge you to please choose wisely. Until next time, ciao.